we don't really look into our greatest potential. We don't look into growth. We don't look at new opportunities um, when we are stuck in our ego's way of thinking. And when everything goes good, we don't look at what may go wrong in our business and what may go wrong and why do we need to grow when our business are successful. But that's exactly when you need to grow, is when your business are actually successful, because that's the biggest chance of you going to a failure when you are on your peak and in busy in success.
So today on the call we have Jasper Basson. Jasper, how are you doing, sir?
I'm awesome. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for being on the podcast and being willing to share your journey with us. Jasper, do you want to tell us who is Jasper Basson?
I will start with my business journey and we will kind of take it from there. Um, I've been an accountant and entrepreneur for the last almost 20 years. I've been serving small business owners for 2 decades, specifically this year. I started in 2001. So I'm very grateful and proud of that achievement, and really is more grateful of being able to serve small business owners for 2 decades. During that time, I've also been an entrepreneur in various businesses. Some very successful, some definitely not that successful, and but we learn more from the failures, and I'm sure we will talk about that in a moment. And also, I'm a family man with a beautiful wife and two boys, 8 and 11.
Hi, Jasper Basson here. I just wanted to remind you about the Daily Entrepreneur Tips series. It's a business growth series for entrepreneurs and contains financial information and also information to grow you as a person and your business, because we will never grow our business any higher than we grow ourselves. So click on the link below and I will send you daily information to grow you as a person and your business, and it's for 365 days of the year.
Okay, so you said that obviously like you're a family man and that you've been in business for approximately 2 decades. So well done on that, first of all. Being in business for this long definitely shows that obviously that you have a passion for business, because business isn't always easy, like you said. You've had your ups and you have your downs. Do you want to speak a bit about the challenges that you faced along the journey? Because like you said, you mentioned there that there were some obviously businesses that didn't go according to plan. Do you want to tell us a bit about that?
So during I think to mold myself towards my actual purpose that I'm today currently at, I had to go through 2 very specific stages in my business that really molded me into what I am today. And like, we're always in a working process, and so we always need to kind of get to our best vision. We will never get there, but those 2 kind of instances really shaped me in what I am today. So the first one was roughly 2011, so basically 10 years from today. I was in a business and of financial macro lending, and with a book of about 20 million rand, and something happened, economy crashed, and the business failed. And so that was one of my I'm not going into specifics, but one of my very bad experiences in business. And it really taught me that your ego is your enemy, and that money is only one portion of success. And I think that's what we also discovered during COVID last year, is that money is only one portion of success. And then my second, let's call it failure. I don't like the word failure, but let's call it a failure. Was a burnout in 2017. I was just recovering from the previous bad business experience with a new partner, with a company that I'm still part of, Lead Optimizers, and I was totally burnt out after working basically all day long, early mornings, late nights, haven't spent time with the family, and I was just totally burnt out to the point that I had to kind of step back and apply the 80-20 principle and really kind of sift through what's really important in my life and what is really not serving me. People, places, pursuits. I mean, I hope we can go there and maybe a bit deeper, but places, people, and pursuits are really the thing that you need to focus on to really and to see what fuel your joy.
Mm-hmm. I like that. I like the fact that you said that, you faced really obviously tough times along the journey. Like you said, you were in charge of a 20 million fund, and obviously things went south. But you learned from that, you grew from that, you didn't give up. And that speaks to obviously your resilience, your passion for this. And then secondly, the fact that you said that you experienced burnout. And burnout is something that, sometimes we all try to give everything that we have without realizing the importance of downtime and the different elements of who makes who we are today. Whether it be, like you said, your family, your health, and success is only, or monetary success is only one aspect of that, as you mentioned. But what I liked about the fact that, many people think that failures or the hardships, the difficulties in life are the worst thing to happen to you. But sometimes it can be the best thing, because it's during the times of the lows that we actually sit back and we reflect and we adjust about how are we going to go forward. Like you mentioned there, the people, pursuits, and places were important to you. Do you want to tell us a bit about that?
So I think firstly, it's a very good point in the sense of the monetary value, and that's only a part of the success. There's a saying that says, a bad day for the ego is a very good day for the soul. And we don't really look into our greatest potential. We don't look into growth. We don't look at new opportunities when we are stuck in our ego's way of thinking. And when everything goes good, we don't look at what may go wrong in our business and what may go wrong and why do we need to grow when our business are successful. But that's exactly when you need to grow, is when your business are actually successful, because that's the biggest chance of you going to a failure when you are on your peak and busy in success. So but let's go to people, places, pursuits. It's something that's really served me a lot, and I need to give credit to one of my mentors, Robin Sharma, for this. He calls it the joy of GPS. It's really by following your joy and let your joy be your guide or your GPS towards what you really need to do from your heart and from your soul. We are in a place where we so easily want to focus on and use our mind to try to control everything. I mean, if you look at everywhere, politics everywhere, we want to try to focus and to control everything with our mind. And if we can't start actually using our heart and our soul and start just spreading love, we can do so much more. And I think that's a core principle about your joy as a GPS as well. To really look what really fuel your joy, and just important, what are the things or the places, the pursuits that actually drain your make your negative, the toxic people, the energy vampires. Those are the people that actually destroy your joy. So I mean, if you look at people, I always suggest to people, make a list of five people that gives you joy. And those 5 people are the people that want to raise you higher. It's not people that's jealous. People that want to raise you higher. They're the 5 people, I call it my 5 chimps. It's the 5 people that you surround yourself with, that you mirror them, the behavior of them would actually mirror you. And I think that's a very strong point to look into. But just as important as that, probably more important, is make a list of 5 people that deplete your joy. The toxic people, the naysayers. I remember even in my school days and my college days, I had always had this kind of entrepreneurial spirit in me and tried to do stuff. And I always had friends that told the naysayers, that told me I can't do anything, or you shouldn't do that. Or people close to me say, just point out all the dangers, all the risk of doing something. But you will obviously, you will never gain anything if you don't do the calculated risk of actually doing that, take that first step of doing something, because the first step is always the difficult part. So always the most fearful one is that first step, and the rest are very easy. At least it gets easier as you go along. So be very cautious about those 5 people. Those 5 toxic people are actually a lot more important than the 5 influential ones in your life, because it's like a rotten apple. It's always easier to take you down than to raise you up. And we have a lot of naysayers in the world, and I'm sure you know that. So I think that's the first thing about people. Make sure, and that's something I've done 3 years ago. I really made a list of both sides, and I really dive deep into who are the people I really need to spend time with, and who I don't. And these days I'm doing it constantly before any engagement with friends, potential friends, new friends, new clients. I assess them before the time, and I decide. I'm obviously very sensitive now because I do this on a constant basis, but I evaluate them even before they come into my life, personal life or business. Then places, similarly important, and that's not always just something specific. It can be a place, a town, it can be something. To give you a real example, me and my wife like to go to Palm Mountain every Tuesday with our dogs. Just the 2 of us having a date night walk, and just kind of time that we actually bond together. Good. I mean, you know the benefits of. I mean, you're also a very sport fanatic. You know the benefits of training, of fitness, being in nature, all the hormones that getting released. So very important, I think, to know that is my go-to place. If I need answers, you need to kind of just think about life, think about my business, getting solutions of potential problems. I go to the mountain, I just sit there, journal, walk in the mountains, and just without my phone, obviously, because I think that's the biggest thing for us as well. And then also towns that you like to visit, towns that how many times have you been to a specific town outside of your normal? I mean, you're currently in Thailand, I think. It just makes you so much creative. You get so many new ideas when you go on a 1-week break to some random new place. And once you start doing that, there's certain towns, certain places that really you understand that just fuel your creativity. You just get inspired of doing more for your clients, and just doing maybe something different and getting new ideas. And then lastly, pursuits. I mean, pursuits can be in your personal life, it can be in your business. I'm at a place where I identify about 5 things that I'm really focusing on, and everything else I outsource. So I used to have a big team and try to do everything myself, and currently I have a very small team in the sense of who are around me every day, and a bigger team that's outsources, that really assist me on specific things, and that's experts on that. And the mere fact that I can do something doesn't mean I have to do it. So, and I think that's important. And that's our ego that tells us we have to do it because nobody else can do it better than me. But if you want to scale, if you want to grow something, you need to be able to build a dream team around you, of people that you can trust and empower to actually deliver. And sometimes they do deliver better than you because they're more focused on that specific thing than you. So that's I would say a quick summary of the 3 P's.
I love that. I like all 3 of it. And I'll touch based on each. So first of all, like you mentioned there, the pursuits, and like you said, first of all, the importance of outsourcing. If you really want to grow into your potential, you need to be able to, like you say, delegate, to build a team who is competent in those particular areas. And that's something that I've realized as well, is that you can't do everything. You can be a jack of all trades, but then ultimately you're a master of none. And like you say, it can drain your time and drain your energy. So it's focusing on what really matters and what fulfills you and what you know you can really execute on. And then with regards to people, that's also really important. The fact that you need to identify who you are spending your time around, who's good for you, who inspires you, who motivates you, who forces you to grow, to level up, to want to do more, and also who drains you. So it's great that you do that. And then also, obviously, like places is something that I can relate to as well a lot, because I love nature. Since I've started falling in love with training, nature's come along with that journey. And it's also like even just getting away from me, getting into a new place, and I feel inspired. Sometimes I'll pick my laptop up and writing or thinking about different projects and things that I can execute. And it just awakens that creativity, like you say, because you're outside of your comfort, outside of your norm. So breaking that pattern. And then I wanted to touch on also, so you mentioned the people, places, and pursuits. I wanted to touch on the fact that I'm looking at all of this, and like you mentioned there, what Robin Sharma said, the fact that let your joy be your guide, let it be your compass. And that's really powerful. But looking at what this means is that you just living a life, an intentional life. So you've been very intentional of who you let into your life, who you spend your time around, where you go, okay, what you focus your energy on, and that ultimately accumulates into a winning life, an intentional life. And many people around are just going through the motions of life, just doing things without consciously sitting back and thinking, is this the best way to do it? What more can I do? Or how can I solve this? Or how can I outsource this to somebody who could solve it for me? So that's a really important point, the fact that you mentioned there, being more intentional, letting your joy be your guide. Okay, and then, so you also mentioned that you always had the entrepreneurial spirit, even in your college days. Do you want to speak a bit about that? Where did you think the spirit stemmed from?
My grandma was very, well, my one word is generous. I lived my life through quite a number of various aspects around generosity. But my grandma was generous, and she was also always kind of sell stuff. And I think it pretty much came from her in the sense of I saw her doing that in small things, selling rusks and whatever. So I grew up, started doing newspapers, delivering newspapers, and later the Huisgenoot, the U, and all kinds of things, and later selling biltong and chocolates and everything as I go along. And then that was a good old days before technology. and then further on, my real big business was really that in 2010, it was really a constructive kind of business that was formed with another partner, and then obviously we had that big failure. And then since then, especially through Lead Optimizers, my other company that we generate business leads for other entrepreneurs in Africa, we start forming various close partnerships with these entrepreneurs, and to really empower them in also trying to become better entrepreneurs. And our function is really branding, generating obviously niche market leads for them, and also mentoring, taking the last 20 years and really mentor them. So our side, we work on the business, not in the business, but we give the entrepreneur the opportunity to work in the business and really expand their business and get them also to a point where they potentially can work on the business and not in the business, and also have them a stake in the business for value in the future, so they can start earning a monthly income, but also more importantly, they actually start generating a capital or a pension for them for later in their life. And the work that we mostly do is the inner work. So you can never grow bigger outside than you grow inside. We'll never have better results on the outside than inside. So I kind of dwelled off your original question, but that's how I got there.
Okay. So let's speak about lead optimizers. What made you decide to go into the specific area? I know that you said you are accountant by profession. What made you decide to go into like helping other businesses generate leads and succeed?
Yeah, so initially, well, I wasn't always purposeful in what I do, and I mean, currently my purpose is really generosity and really inspire other entrepreneurs, empower them, so and give them a lot of value to actually empower themselves as well. But initially, before my biggest failure, I mean, it was all about money. I was arrogant. It was all about money. I thought I can turn everything into gold, and it turned out I couldn't. So that was initially obviously the kind of motivation was money, which very soon and very at this stage is, I mean, like I mentioned, everything is now to empower other entrepreneurs. But it all started with us with a fellow well at this stage a client of mine, which is now my partner. We start an in-house website, B certificates that we started generating leads just for ourselves, and it was a kind of a joint venture between the two of us. He's the SEO specialist, I'm the financial director, and kind of that's how we got together and say, well, let's try this project and see where it goes. The first project was a massive success, generating about 1,200 leads per month on average for that niche B certificates. And then as it goes along, we decide, well, we can just as well generate leads for other businesses as well. I mean, we do it very successfully for ourselves. Let's do it for other people as well. And then last year, since lockdown, our vision changed to the point where we actually don't do lead generation itself for entrepreneurs anymore. You have to join us in a partnership where we can actually develop you, empower you, assist you with everything else that I've mentioned. And yeah, so our whole heart since lockdown actually changed to a more empowering kind of vision than it was previously, just lead generation overall.
Mm-hmm. And so obviously, like you said, you also pivoted during the lockdown. You discovered that there is a need for this way to actually help entrepreneurs with the inner work as well, so that they can actually really reap the benefits on the outer. Speak to me a bit about how you discovered the importance of obviously the inner work, because you have made mention of the ego and being driven by success, by money previously. Tell me a bit about how you discovered that the ego can be the enemy and how you start working with the ego.
So my journey started really after the first failure. I got into I've become a student of the work of Robin Sharma mainly, a few other people as well, but Robin Sharma mainly. And a lot of his work is regarding inner work, and your inner work obviously shows the results in your outer world. So, and I basically started, one of these big things are the 5 AM Club, right? As an early riser, and I know you also an early riser. I saw some videos that you jog in the pitch dark, black night. So that's basically my time that I started. I think maybe I must run you through my morning routine, because I think during that you will find a lot of the nuggets that you maybe are looking for, and we can kind of delve deeper into that if you'd like.
Yeah, that's fine.
So my morning starts at 4 AM and it ends at 6 AM. So it's about a 2-hour slot that I take for myself in various developments. I try to work on mind, body, heart, and soul. So all 4 that items come together for potential successful, or at least successful, strive to your best version. So my morning before starts with the night after, or the night before, and really we're trying to not obviously not go to sleep too late. I do affirmations, visualization just before I go to sleep, and also just as I wake up, and I found that to be a very powerful tool for me. It might not work for everybody, but that definitely worked a lot for me. It's something that you really just influence your subconscious mind, and you start vibrating certain energy to attract certain things. So really worked for me, but it's very effective the last 10-20 minutes before you go to sleep, and the first 10-20 minutes before you, and as you wake up. Further on, I like meditation. I do a lot of journaling. I write down a lot. When we start having scattered thoughts and we actually put it down on paper, a lot of things that we do becomes clearer. And it might be financial planning, it might be something that's on my heart that's either good or bad. Gratitude works a lot for me. To be great, just be grateful people. Grateful people are happy people, and happy people create successful businesses. So just be grateful for the small things. I think especially during lockdown, it was very powerful. And then I do various things, online courses, read a lot of books, especially, obviously dedicated to personal development in various fields. Currently, I read very spiritual kind of books to really boost that side of my soul side of everything, to do the deeper work. And then half past 5 to 6 I do heat training. I like my heat training to really get my body going for the day. It really sets my day up. So I do various heat the bath, that kind of training every day. And then lastly, at 6 a.m. I do a cold shower every day. Cold shower has been very, very good for me. There's obviously a lot of health benefits from that, but I think mostly it was for me to conquer my fear to every day to jump in the cold shower. So it's really subconsciously built that kind of behavior and thinking of every day, go out and be out of your comfort zone, do difficult things, do things that scares you. So that's basically my morning routine that really serves me well for the last at least 3 years.
Nice. And I like the fact that you said there that, you do the cold shower because you know that by the time you have to do the cold shower, your mind will work against you. Your mind will say, do I really have to do this right now? And it's about following through on your commitments. And that's how you develop discipline. That's how you develop the confidence to actually win throughout the day and throughout your life. Because you know that even if I don't feel like doing something, I'm still doing it. So all these things are setting you up for success, like you said. And even the visualization, I know it's a really powerful tool, something that I've been using as well. It basically helps you become more familiar with things that is novel, especially when you're doing something that could potentially be fearful or challenging in a way. Practicing visualization beforehand helps you to feel more prepared for that. And that's actually what I did also when I did a TED talk about almost 2 years ago, and it was one of my first talks that it was actually one of my first major talks in general since discovering I had a fear of public speaking, which was just after university. And I have been working on my speaking, like my confidence in a way, but I realized that the main cause of my fear of public speaking was the fact that I felt that I was inadequate speaker of English. Like I wouldn't pronounce my words correctly. Coming from the Cape Flats, speaking slang, you're not confident, and also feeling inferior to other people. So that's where it stemmed from. So I worked on those areas, and when it came time to actually do my talk, I remember becoming overwhelmed with like fear beforehand. Anxiety actually is one of the first times, or probably the second time in my life, I actually experienced anxiety, like proper anxiety that I can relate to. And this was probably a couple of days before, and I felt the build up, and this is while I was doing visualization, and that was so powerful because all I did is I started breathing calmly and controlling that anxiety. And what that then done is it showed that I actually have control over the situation, and I continued doing that practice. And when the day came to give the talk, I was confident, extremely confident, and that just speaks about the power. Imagine I hadn't done that, and that anxiety stemmed or just sprung up on me on the day. I wouldn't know how to actually deal with it. So visualization is really powerful, really, really powerful. And then I also saw that you very big into fitness. I saw that you went also on a weight loss journey. I saw one of your pictures recently. Do you want to tell us a bit about that?
It's an old picture, but it is about 2015.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been in martial arts for pretty much my whole life. but since from about 2014 to about 2018, I was really involved in competing in martial arts as well. Being an instructor in a local pole gym as well in kickboxing. So it was really in that time, just before I started that journey of getting back to kickboxing again. I used to be in school, everything I've been doing, karate and kickboxing, and then really getting back to the sport in 2014. And it was really that process of obviously preparing for a fight. I mean, you just talked about visualization. You kind of freeze before a big thing. I mean, that was one of the things. I mean, you're sitting in a locker room just before you need to go step out in a full contact fight, and it's like, it feels like you just want to run away.
I can imagine.
And until that first shot kind of lands, and then everything, then you're having fun, and it's and when you're done, I mean, you just want to climb back in the ring, kind of thing. So I've done that. I've done 10 kickboxing fights, full contact fights. It was part of my bucket list. I'm getting older now, so I'm trying not to do those kind of things with my head anymore. I'm still doing jiu-jitsu. But obviously during that time, I had a lot of weight cuts, doing weight loss. Weight cuts, I obviously won't advise anybody, but I mean, some weeks from a Sunday to a Friday, I've lost like 7 Ks. That's by kind of doing specific weight loss. I'm not going to tell you because I'm afraid somebody will try to do it.
Yeah.
But don't try that at that kind of thing. But obviously living lean, training and living lean is kind of hand in hand. You can't get, 80% of the work are made in the kitchen. So I mean, you need to go to the kitchen and get that sorted out before you can do anything. And it's not just for looking good. I mean, especially when you're my age, you don't really care about that anymore. It's really just, I mean, I can feel the difference in my productivity, my performance at work when I don't eat a lot, when I don't eat takeaways, when I eat very lean. I'm currently back on it because I'm trying to get back in that lean kind of shape, because I know how productive and how in peak performance I am when I do that. So currently I'm back to tuna and broccoli and lunch, those kind of bokos. But automatically, I mean, you feel so much better because you don't stuff yourself with too much food. I mean, I drink green tea every single day to kind of just boost my metabolism every day, and you just feel so much better. I mean, doing training, you release a lot of, all the endorphins and all those kind of hormones that you release, feel good hormones. But most importantly, you release BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which actually rebuild damaged brain cells. And obviously, if they rebuild damaged brain cells, they can actually improve your current brain cells, and it can be you are so much more creative and inspired to do amazing things in your work. So, but those things are really going hand in hand. That doesn't, if you don't eat lean or eat better, it doesn't really matter that you train, because it kind of defeats the purpose. It's really intertwined into each other.
Yeah, and I agree on that as well. It's very important, obviously, like you said, your fitness journey, and also obviously your health, because that obviously contributes to, like you said, your overall performance, and also just your focus, how long you can sit down and how much bouts of work you can get done during the day. And I know that when I'm in peak state, I feel I'm way more productive. I'm able to put in more hours during the day, and ultimately that's what you want to do. You want to maximize your time, because as an entrepreneur, as a leader, we all only have 24 hours, and that means that you need to be able to put in as much things, or to multiply what you can do during that 24 hours to actually be as productive as possible, so that you can make the biggest impact as possible. And then as a concluding question, Jasper, do you want to tell us what is the impact that you want to make on entrepreneurs? Because ultimately, I know that you said that one of it's your passion to actually help serve entrepreneurs, but you want to tell us if you're looking at your vision for the next 10 to 20 years, what is the impact that you see yourself making in the lives of others?
I think to inspire people through generosity through being the most authentic person that you can be. I think that's something that people forget, and because of social media, we tend to kind of try and mimic other people's success. Don't be a copycat. Be authentic. God doesn't create extras. He created you uniquely and authentically, and for you to make a difference in your capabilities of exactly who you are. So being generous and being authentic, being generous of being an inspiration of hope, and the instrument of service to entrepreneurs in South Africa. Being an accountant, I've got a very amazing opportunity and a foot in the door to actually help inspire and empower entrepreneurs in South Africa. It's a very difficult task. Entrepreneurs, especially in South Africa, doesn't really look into the personal development. They want to sort out everything with their head and with their mind. But I will keep being the example of the result of doing the inner work, and when you do the inner work, you will see the outer results. It's something I really live by. And then just being generous in kindness and being generous in all kinds of ways. You don't have to have a lot of money to be generous. I think when we think generous, we think money, we think monetary value. And yes, there's a place for that, but that's not all you have to do. You can volunteer at something that really serves your heart and really make your heart smile. You can something of in your business. You can in your case, you can do a coaching session with somebody for free, just because you want to do it for them, not because you expect anything. Because when we expect something back, it's becoming a trade-off and it's not really a gift. And the real value in generosity is when you start giving, you will start receiving abundantly. I mean, abundance and generosity is like electricity is like water. It needs to flow all the time. When you start holding back, when you have this mindset of trying to negotiate everything, trying to get everything for a bargain, energy can't flow in abundance around you. You can't expect to have abundance around you if you don't want to give, if you're not open to give as well, if you have the mindset of constantly looking for bargains. And I mean, it's kind of just again back to affirmations basically. I mean, you just kind of speak badly about everything all the time and about money. So I think that's, for me, my biggest takeaway for somebody that knows me is authenticity and generosity. And generosity can be linked to that in the sense of just being generous with your authenticity.
Awesome, Jasper, and I really like that answer as well. And I wish you well on your journey and to continue shedding or being a light for others out there, a light of inspiration, of hope, and showing them what is possible in terms of their life, in terms of their business, in terms of their overall success and happiness, by focusing on not only the outer world but on the inner world as well. And thank you for taking the time to share your journey with us. Thank you.